it up. No,
Welcome. This is Broken English 101 episode. We're going to get to that later, but Rewind podcast, extension of the show, of the conversation, all of that jazz. We're going to get into defining, naming, and just, I guess, giving this parameters as we get into some of these conversations. But definitely wanted to introduce everybody or allow everybody to introduce themselves because we'll get into a little bit of, conversation and dialogue about I guess how this came to be and how we are right now. So first and foremost, my name is Christian. I go by Christian.
What's good? I'm Leroy, a.k.a. being in the bonnet when I'm in the bonnet.
Trip Fontaine, host of the actual Broken English show.
Atlas. I'm not Atlas the poet, Atlas.
And there you have it. And there you have it. Introductions, although brief, we will definitely, extend the conversation a little bit. But so we was just chopping it up, talking about just once again getting to this particular moment and just having these conversations and I guess being in a space to reflect. I definitely want to throw it over to Trip first and foremost. As a lot of things, kind of like Tree, you know what I'm saying? Like they branch off from this point of origin. Just to kind of preface the conversation we're gonna have. So like, we talked about what we're gonna talk about. And like I said, I just want to pass it over to you because I feel like you would be a nice introduction to some of what seems to be.
You the host, bro. I was just here as a guest, bro. We just here to talk about how we got here, bro.
I mean, that all started with you, though.
That's right. Like how you see it. You see it.
It all started with you.
Y'all was poets before that, bro.
Yes.
Don't play them games. We talking about individual journeys and collective, bro.
Trying to lay the foundation for it, though.
Yes,
Leroy,
right.
Go ahead, bro. Talk. You give the divine.
It's always petty, bro.
For me, man, it started in my mama's living room. And I really didn't have no choice but to reflect on my life through poetry. And then I had never performed at an open mic, never been to a show. I just started jotting poetry down in my phone and posting it as Facebook statuses, and people supported that and told me to keep going. And then it wasn't until like later that year that I had seen the slam that Trip was a part of. And for one, like he was already somebody that I looked up to as a writer. It's funny because like both Trip and Christian were at Wright State, and Christian gave me my orientation, and he just seemed like this guy that like I would know at some point. Like I wonder what it would be like to know him.
Let's talk about
the real beginning.
But I don't know who I seen first, but I definitely knew about Trip.
If this was your orientation, then you obviously saw this.
But I knew about
first.
poetry before I got to Wright State, though, so it doesn't start there.
I got you.
Nah, but I'm gonna stop you because I don't want you to go too far into that. I want to kind of give like a little, a small,
now
a breadcrumb. No. But it's just to like level the conversation to where you're not divulging everything because we gonna get into everything because there's definitely more to and how this all comes together. Like so, that's a breadcrumb into like, hey, I started in my mom's living room. Up until this point where I got to college, where I was actually like personally pursuing poetry and seeking out my craft. Atlas. Where you come in at? Where's your initiation up into like the point before this?
My initiation to poetry was my grandma's house. I started writing there just because there was 12 of us in there, and I didn't really have a space for me to articulate myself. Nor did I feel like I knew how. I knew I had things that I wanted to talk about. I just didn't know like how to talk about it. And it started out with lyrics, and it was funny. My uncle, he saw like a bunch of like pages, and he knew they were mine, so he asked me to see if I was going to like fess up to him. And I had my name on it and everything. I was like, no, that's not mine. I was like so embarrassed. I was just embarrassed of writing poetry. Well, it started off as lyrics, which were trash. Then got into poetry, but then in college, I performed at an open mic. and I got paid for it. And I was like, oh, okay, might be able to do this a little bit more. And then I was in the military, and then that's when I met all of these guys at a show. I think it was a slam. I was at the show, same show that she was at, Leroy, when you performed. And then that's how I met Christian and Trip. So.
Got you. Okay. Now see, this is perfect. Like this is aligning perfectly. So into myself, definitely like y'all two, like everybody, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of synonymous, and we share that like experience, like just being in a space where like we're trying to find some type of outlet for, you know, whatever it is, like we feel like we experiencing or whatever creativity we feel like we trying to express. Like I definitely was like middle child in the dynamic that I was growing up in, because I have 2 older brothers and 2 older sisters, but they weren't necessarily always living with us in that space. It was just my closest older brother in age and my younger sister. So I was a middle child in between them. So like that kind of put me in a situation where even the space that, and I ain't trying to make it too deep, but even the space in which I call home or whatever, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I needed to find my space within that because there were so many people. So like writing just happened to be one of those things that, you know, I was bright, you know, as a kid. Like I didn't necessarily always apply myself, but I did have some type of capacity to where like maybe my English teacher saw something in what I was doing and, you know, chose to tell me to explore myself in that capacity. Because she never really told me what to do or anything like that. It was just more so like, it seems like you maybe have something that you want to share. Like, and just share it. Like, and for her, she probably didn't know what that was, but at that particular time, my friend group, we had just had this English teacher who was just like, she was really involved in our, you know, as Black men, our success, in our just overall, like, you know, having conversations with us. So she was always like that one teacher, like everybody got that one teacher that stand out, yeah. But she just kind of encouraged us in that way. And since she was a literary teacher, like, you know, that was her form or medium of expression. And we really took to that because she invested in us. So like, that's where, like you was saying, like it was Facebook posts where I was just like, you know, kind of, I don't know, whatever you feel like you're going through, like in junior, senior year in high school, like, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever you feel like you're going through, like, you know, you just find somewhere to, you know, like, you know, make a space for it. And like I said, like, I never had my own room. So I felt like I always had to come find, you know, that notebook, that page of paper where I could say, like, this is mine. Can't nobody look at it. Don't nobody know where this is at. Like, this is my privacy, nigga. Like, that was where the space developed for me to share. Like, that's where, like, I kind of developed that space for me to share or write or, you know, exercise that creative muscle.
Start talking.
Stop, bro.
Privacy, bro. Nah, bro.
Stop, bro. But no, that's leading up to college, because like I said, that was junior year, high school, senior year, like going up to college, and that's where it really started, was right there. So boom, all of that to lead up into the dynamic of this motherfucker.
This nigga start writing Colonel White. Don't let this nigga
I just say that? I said junior, senior year.
Yeah, he did.
Exactly.
I also resonate with the teacher believing part. Like, it was like the 6th grade. I was a teacher who, like, I don't know what it was. It was an essay. We were reading like Edgar Allan Poe, and I was like, he was one of my favorite poets just because he talked about, like, I feel like real life shit.
Wasn't he the atheist or something?
I don't know what he was. I just know that he was dark.
Yeah, definitely dark.
They talk about the
Nevermore.
Yeah, it was like
Nevermore.
the pain. I was like, okay, this is my introduction. Okay, I see myself within these poems versus like
Yeah,
that
no,
point it was
for
like
sure.
flowers and trees.
Flowers
I
and
didn't,
shit.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. That's you.
The reason this nigga can't lie, bro, is because we were in a group together.
What group was it called?
It's called Inappropriate Behavior, bro. Before that, there was no poet Trip Fontaine on campus. I had just performed at a couple open mics and shit like that. That was it. And that's because wasn't nobody listened to my mixtape. Like, he was the host on campus already. He was the popular nigga on campus already. Like, don't let this nigga lie to nobody.
This has
And
nothing
I
to
start
do
getting to
with
it
the
off
story
camp.
that we're telling
It
right
has
now.
everything to do with it, because I wouldn't have started doing poetry if it wasn't for us being in a group together. I was a battle rapper before that. So like, don't let this nigga lie. Like,
But
he
he's
wasn't
saying
just
like,
much a part of it.
but he's saying these things like they're mutually exclusive. I never like try to
Niggas be
avoid.
trying to put the whole origin story on me, bro.
No,
didn't
bro,
start
it
with
did. Because
Metaphor.
guess who came up and asked, "Hey, you trying to be in this talent show?" This man, he did the Trip
I didn't
Fontaine
ask- I
pressure,
didn't
peer
ask,
pressure,
hey,
bro.
You trying to be in this talent show? That's not what I
Bruh.
was like. Hey, nigga, I know you write poetry, bruh. Niggas told me, bruh, that went to high school with you.
See
bruh,
that?
like,
See
jump
how he
in the
came
talent
across
show.
it? That's what he
I
did
didn't
too.
ask
He
this
said,
nigga,
"Hey."
bruh, I always peer pressure.
That's what he
niggas, bruh.
did. I remember.
We was sitting in the joint. I was like, bro, you might as well jump in. I was like, I'm jumping in and I'm finna do some bullshit. Like, we didn't even take the contest seriously. Matter of fact, we was cussing to the point we should have got disqualified. Like, it was bad. We wasn't supposed to cuss like they.
Ain't that the
deducted
poem where you
points.
start off with bitch?
Bro, that poem is all birthed out of like a joke. Like, we was just on some like, nigga, I'm about to start. I was like, bro, I'm gonna just start out cussing. Like, fuck it. If we lose, we lose. And that's why everybody's joint start out on some bullshit. Like, but this nigga was there, bro. Day one. Cut it out.
All right. Well, I also want to ask for the two niggas who still have stage names. When did those names start to become like actually what you moved by as an artist?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say in college, I think my sophomore year, I put out some music, and I don't know, Atlas. I just like the whole idea of like mythology, I like fantastical stories. People do like superhero type shit, and I just thought the dude carrying the world and heavens on his shoulder was just a powerful like image. On top of me moving all over, like I never really had one place to call home, so. Shit, nigga, I'm gonna make the world my home. I was so privy of the whole reason behind Atlas. But sophomore year, like in college, and put out a couple of songs. And because I was on the football team, I think people was fucking with it. I'm not sure if it was really dope or not, but I think it was dope. But they was fucking with it, so they just started calling me Atlas. But I also had like multiple nicknames. But Atlas is the one I was like, nah, nigga, I'm Atlas, nigga.
Atlas nigga.
With emphasis. I'm weak.
Probably sophomore year in college too.
Damn.
Niggas already knew who they was and shit.
You know what
Man.
I'm saying?
Still trying to find myself
You try to find yourself in what though?
Yeah, what
in
was,
life, nigga.
what was
You
your-
had to
Yeah.
transition
I had-
from a stage name
Right.
to
Yeah, I'm about to
yourself
ask.
though. Like
Higher-
that's an enlightening
higher
journey within
consciousness.
itself, my nigga. Like my
Right.
nigga went from higher conscious to Leroy Bean.
Higher conscientious.
Yeah. So what did you find on your way?
Hyper consciousness.
Higher X conscious.
Nah,
All the names that went
it's been
wrong.
like I know, real, bro. We've had so many names that have went wrong, like Underground Academy,
Underground atmosphere. nigga.
Underground Atmosphere.
That's really how it ended up changing. I just got tired of niggas fucking it up.
Yo,
Nah, I don't know. I never really appreciated my name, Leroy Bean. I think it's probably because of my relationship to my dad, who isn't a bad person. I don't think we ever had a bad relationship, but it just going back to that whole thing about like not really having your own space. Like whenever I was around him, it was always just Leroy. But I'm up here thinking people calling me, but they calling him, or they calling my grandpa. And I think like creating a stage name was my way of trying
You
to
was third?
separate myself. No, I'm not actually. So weird thing, they don't have a middle name, and I do. So they consider me a whole new generation of Leroy. So I'm not the third. I'm just Leroy Devon Bean, bro. And I actually prefer it that way because I do not want to be a third. Like I would hate that if I was a third.
you really the
I don't like that.
Bruh, Leroy being the third, the funniest shit out, bruh.
Hey, bro. Please, bro, the Holy Trinity.
That's fair.
I'm crying.
I
They
don't
made a whole new
That
lineage
nigga
out of this
bruh.
nigga. Like, hey,
And that feels comfortable to me though, because it's like I'm
New
still
model.
Leroy, but I'm
yeah,
also
nah,
Leroy.
I got
Devon
some
Bean.
attachment to my roots, but I'm just a new nigga. They decided to propagate me.
That's funny.
The new.
No, I'm
Leroy
crying,
Bean.
bro. Nah, but we wait, go. Was you about to say something?
Nah, I was just saying from that came higher conscious. Well, it was also because of me and Austin at that time too. We had got really close, and And, you know, me and Austin are half brothers, so we share the same dad, but we share the same mom. So we didn't grow up together, but we did have a lot of moments where we were just kind of like in and out of each other's lives. And then once we got to that point, when I moved to Columbus and he was in Columbus and he had started his clothing line, and then I was really leaning into who I was as a poet, and we were on similar journeys, and we were kind of paired up at that moment. So when he started Higher Soul, that's when I became Higher Consciousness. But then over the years, it just became after a while something that didn't. It felt like an old version of me. That was around the time I cut my dreads off, and regrew them back. And also Dave Chappelle, I met him, and he was like, "You should just go by your name." I was like, "All right, it's over then."
Nah, that's all it
After
takes.
we told him for years that he should just be going by his name.
That's a fact.
Yes, that is true.
It's hard to believe though when you got niggas telling you, and it's like, nigga, I've been going by this name my whole life. What you mean? And then I'm sorry I didn't believe you, man.
Like, bro, Higher Consciousness, tacky, bro. No,
People
bro,
did
come
really
on.
just fuck that up all the time, right?
Hyper consciousness.
Nah, I'm weak. Nah. But so we kind of like trailed a little bit, which I mean, all good conversation. But I'm not gonna let this man like really scapegoat his like his role in the formation of this, because we said we was getting through personal and collective journeys. So to give the story that he didn't want to share is, now that we're at this equal level of, hey, we all have, you know, up into our college age or whatever, you know, we going to college. I am also in college at this particular time. We all writing, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all have some type of background in writing. At that particular time, like he did say, like, there was a talent show that we had for our BSU that we participated in. There was the first group, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that was our first group. And from that particular point, we kind of like backed away from it. You know, life circumstances kind of came into the middle of that. But like Trip was always still connected within the community. It was always some type of poetry going on that he managed to find himself a part of. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's pretty much.
Bro.
Bro, let me tell the story. Like, that was, you didn't want to tell it, let me tell the story. That was pretty much the maintaining that root within the community, like, you know what I'm saying? Because we had that group. We all stepped away from poetry for whatever reason. We weren't, you know what I'm saying? Like, we were all operating in our own individual capacity or whatever. And then I got back into poetry, meeting back up with Trip. And that was through, you know what I'm saying, like the group that he was a part of at that particular time. But that's how we all found a way back into what it is now, and how the collective, you know, how we've kind of established what we want out of, you know, our particular collective. Because we all had some type of like, all right, shit, we write whatever. How do we find an outlet for that? And then this man just happened to like still like just, I mean, he has his foot in the door. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then for us, that's all it really took at that particular time to like, well, let's continue to explore, you know, what we've started up until this particular point, and how do we express ourselves? Because we had at that particular time, like, we were adults and had some type of freedom amongst ourselves to not be constrained by what may have stopped us from performing or pursuing it before. So like, that's what kind of led us to. And as much as you want to like run away from it, we gravitated towards the space that you were already in, my G.
You told an unbiased version of the story. I'll take that. That was the least petty version of the story that niggas have ever told.
Right.
That's all. Cause like I said, bro, niggas was there day one. It's not like I didn't know niggas. I just didn't quit. Like that's what I had.
So that was like what, 2015, right?
Yeah,
No.
like 2014. It was like 2014.
2014. Yeah, it was. How old was y'all at the time?
I was 24.
Yeah, I was about to say I had to be around 24, 25.
But like
But it was like jokes and poets,
metaphorically speaking was like 2012.
Yep.
Nah, 2011. It started 2011. I just came off of doing like my show. It was me, my dude Mike Logan, my homie Antoine Teddy, and Saudi nigga. We was starting to boom on the humble, bro. And then the cats who were on the spot saw we was starting to do good. Started like immediately tried to charge us more money. Like we wasn't doing like good to where we was making money. We was doing good to where people were starting to fuck with us. Like, and like, yeah, I think we was paying like $2, and then he said he needed $350. And we was still in college, nigga. We was broke. Fuck is you talking about,
Right.
bruh? We charged them. I think we was charging people like $5. Some more wild shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so niggas. Jay. Really, this shit started with Jay, high key. Cause I met Jay when I was like 12, 13, for real. Like he the one that really like pulled me into, metaphorically speaking, cause he know my pops. Like he had hit me to judge, metaphorically speaking. I think it was like their second show or some shit like that. And we just ended up rapping after the show, and it's like, son, you like, you know what I'm saying? Like, rock with the shit. I'm like, all right, I guess, nigga. Like, shit, what y'all need?
Everything just back to good vibes and opportunity, bro.
Right. That's pretty much the same thing he said after I hopped off the stage at the slam. He was like, yo,
Son,
around.
yeah, son.
Trying to win.
Right. After that, bro, I was every time he hit me up about a show, I was there.
Fuck around. All right, bet. Cool. I'm weak. Yeah, I mean, well, that's funny that you, I mean, some of them same issues that we, like, struggling with, hey, we had some type of success and then something changed, you know what I'm saying? Even with the venues and the spaces that we are in, because, like, we've been at it for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've been at it for a long time. Like, our first show was in 2015, 2016? 2015?
Yeah.
Yeah, like our first show was in 2015. It's 2022, bro. Like, and this is the first complete and full year that we've had, you know, as Broken English as a platform. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the struggles ain't new to the journey, like, you know what I'm saying? Because we've definitely had our fair share of, like, all right, man, it's successful. Now we got to restrain or constrain, you know what I'm saying, like what the product is. And people try to, you know, label it or, you know, put their own parameters on it, which has never really served us any well. And, you know, maintaining our own creativity when it comes to what we want to put on. But it's funny. That's just funny. Serendipity, bro. Serendipity.
Believe in the poetry.
Word.
Shit, we had shows everywhere. Literally all types of venues, all across states.
Barbecue spots.
Hey, no, that's funny. That was West Virginia, right?
Yeah.
Nah, that shit was good, though.
Right.
I think about it every
Writers'
time I
conference.
slide through West Virginia. Like, you know what, bro? I might slide down there. What's his name? Ray? It's got to be something, Ray.
That shit was lit. And the whole writers conference we did with that, like, I still got the poster and shit. Like,
I do too. Peace.
Yeah, nah, but that's love,
No
though.
gas.
That's love, though. That's love. I remember, you know, I mean, but we always talk about that, like just missing them particular times, because that definitely was a time where we could get up and just go, and but we was reaching out to people in some of those particular moments that, like y'all was saying, like they showed love, like, oh shit, y'all coming, like, you know what I'm saying, like we'll get y'all a plate, you know what I'm saying, like you had some type of, you know, just connection.
man,
shit real.
how did the first Broken English show end up happening? Like, I remember we was like definitely out there trying to hit shows, and we went from traveling to different open mics and finding Shadowbox and just like taking off with that. But I still, as I was a young nigga at the time, so I
Chris
was really
the one
just
that knew
following
about
direction.
Shadowbox.
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, I don't know if we got time to get into that story right now. What are we on time? 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes.
Tell it on the next one.
Okay, yeah, we'll get into that. We'll dive into
That
that.
one is
The
about-
cliffhanger.
Yeah.
We'll talk about what Broken English is and why we started it and what we gonna do with it.
That's fair.
Yeah, nah. And like I said, like we definitely with this space, like I said, an extension or, you know what I'm saying, a continuation of some of the dialogue that we do have on the Broken English platform. And with that, like we definitely want to, you know, kind of set the stage for some of those conversations we're going to have by the development of the space. Because I feel like that really has a lot to do with, you know what I'm saying, I guess what people and what we get from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like the fact that we have a platform that in all of our efforts to establish, you know, the space that we felt like we could be free and exist as artists, people feel that same type of, you know what I'm saying, like that visibility within themselves. So like this definitely, you know what I'm saying, we'll get into the first show, how, you know, we got into that, and then up until now, and just continue with just having the conversations that we have from the people that show up in the space. And we'll probably more so than not connect with us again, because it won't always just be us four having a conversation. It'll kind of rotate. So excited to see it, man. I think we winding down on this though. Any final comments? Any last words?
It's been a pleasure, man.
I know.
Indeed.
Word. Well, to close this out, once again, my name is Christian. I will be as consistent as a host as I am allowed. But we're going to get this one out. Broken English Rewind podcast. Yep.
Yeah.
We'll work on that.